Now, this is extremely important. We've talked on this show a lot about the great martyr and hero Marielle Franco. She was a city councilor. She in Sao Paulo, I believe. She emerged from the favelas as a community activist. She was Afro-Brazilian. She was an open lesbian. She did extraordinarily courageous work in exposing, in fact, the police brutality, police murders, racism, connections between the police units and the security forces and cartels in Brazil. And she was assassinated along with her driver a little over a year ago. And this actually happened a couple of months before the political imprisonment of President Lula, at this real acceleration of this monstrosity that had already been metastasizing in Brazil, culminating in the election, the illegitimate election of Jair Bolsonaro. Now, it was reported several months ago that there was connections, at least in terms of acquaintances, between the cartel, the gang hitmen that assassinated Marielle, and the Bolsonaro family. And now, just a couple of hours ago, there's a whole new set of revelations that are very important, and I want to read from them directly from Andrew Fishman from The Intercept. Logs show that on the day of Marielle Franco's assassination, do we have this up? One of the men involved checked in to visit Bolsonaro at his Rio condo complex. He visited a neighbor. Bolsonaro was reportedly not in town on that day. This is his first direct citation in the case. Scroll down. According to the doorman, he rang Bolso's house. He's shortening it to house, and someone whom he identified as Mr. JR authorized the man's entrance. And when the doorman saw the man was going to a different house, he called back and said Mr. JR knew where the man was going and that it was okay. There are logs of Bolsonaro's entrance into the congressional building in Brasilia the day in 2 votes. He says he was never in Rio. But according to the doorman, someone in Bolsonaro's house, approved the man's entrance into the condo and knew that he was going to Rana Lessa's house. And the doorman believed it was Jair Bolsonaro that approved the visit. Who was it then? Why was someone in Bolsonaro's house familiar with the mercenary that murdered Marielle Franco? Does Bolsonaro personally know this man? Has he visited this man before? Here's the link to the first story that goes back to the first revelations around the assassins. Now, I believe it's happening now. Maybe it has stopped. But, oh, by the way, here's a picture of, I'm sorry, I'm going to mess up this pronunciation. Alcísio. Do you know how to pronounce the Portuguese, this man's name?
No, it's Spanish, but not
Alcísio Correz, the man who identified as visiting Bolsonaro's house on the day he participated in Marielle's murder. Here he is seen smiling with Jair Bolsonaro. That's the picture. Now, supposedly, and I think it is also on this thread, I'm not sure, Bolsonaro, yes, after the report aired tonight, Bolsonaro did a Facebook Live, emotional, voice breaking
from that.
Pull back. Tear trickling down his cheeks. He railed against TV Globo, saying they're scoundrels and unpatriotic. You can see the tear in the screenshot. He was clearly shaken by the story.
We have a little video if we want.
Okay, yeah, let's play a section of this lunatic.
Quer criar fato, uma narrativa de que eu deveria me afastar, ou que o povo deveria ir à rua para pedir meu afastamento, tendo em vista os indícios que acontecem.
So he's having an absolute breakdown, the clown fascist of Brazil. And
he has, you know what this reminds me of is those Guaido videos
that he would shoot. Except Guaido was more composed. I mean, this guy's losing his mind. And look, I know, look, well, it's already baked into the cake that I am a big admirer of President Lula. But let's just be very clear about this. A process backed by the DOJ. Bill Barr, of course, has not responded to Congressman Hank Johnson's letter demanding answers on the U.S. role in the corrupt Lava Jato investigation. Make a man who lifted 40 million people out of poverty a political prisoner. He is in jail giving interviews with the most acute understanding of the Brazilian situation, a global campaign to deal with the rise of authoritarian capitalism and defeat neoliberalism, a broad humanistic politics. The most respected statesman in the globe today. These people, the support of the United States and oligarchs and everybody else, put him in jail and led to this moron. And I just will also say as a final thing, kind of an off-the-record conversation, but it's always reported as this whole process, beginning with the coup against Dilma Rousseff, the idea was that it would culminate in some traditional center-right leader becoming president of Brazil. And that was the plan, but I also could say that according to some conversations I've had recently, which are interesting, the West was much more familiar with Bolsonaro earlier on, and he may have been thought of as a plan B for quite some time. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.